Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fans of all ages, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Raider Nation Talks. I am your host, Devontae, and again, football is upon us. Now, my last video, I did an episode of who I thought was going to be on a 53-man roster. Today is Labor Day. So that 53-man roster, everybody had to cut their roster down from 80 to 53 on Saturday, this past Saturday the 4th, which has been done. So we're going to talk about who made the cuts, who didn't make the cut, and some trades as well. So let's get on into it. First and foremost, we're going to start with what everybody knows. Tyrell Williams, our wide receiver, being placed on IR for the season with that labrum tear that's in the shoulder. I play a wide receiver, so for all of you who are trying to understand the significance of that issue and that injury, when John Abram went out last year, and now with Tyrell Williams, that tear, depending on where it's located at, it could be up here, it could be under here. The flexibility in your arms to get that shoulder out, to catch those over the tops, those back shoulder throws, that full range of motion, especially when you have a tear up there, is just painful. Even myself, who has a high tolerance for pain, just certain injuries, certain movements, and things like that, you're just like, nope, I don't want to deal with it. So kudos to him to even wanting to try to pay through it. But it's one thing to be in practice and go through that, but when you're out there and you got guys pulling on you and hanging on you, because we all see it in the NFL, these guys pull on their arms, try to keep them from getting the arm up and all that. That just adds more to it. And you can actually run a risk of tearing it even more or doing some major damage to it. So I think it was wise for them to shut him down, get the surgery, do the rehab, be ready for next year. So we're going to get that out the way. But first, I'll talk about the offense. I have my list already pulled up, so we're going to talk about the guys that are on here that has made it. Of course, we know Derek Carr, our starter quarterback. I mean, DC is the man, so he's there. Josh Jacobs, our bell cow running back. Henry Ruggs, Hunter Renfrow, Bryan Edwards has slotted in the starter role too, to take that place of Tyrell Williams, which I think is going to be brilliant. I look at this front right here for those receiver, Henry Ruggs, Hunter Renfrow, Bryan Edwards. I think that has a recipe to be a very, very, very explosive and a top-notch wide receiving core. So I think that's going to be really good. I also think that Zay Jones and Nelson Aguilar is going to be huge too. But we also have Rico Gafford making the 53-man roster as well. So that's more speed tier. So even though Ruggs, Renfrow, Edwards are going to be starting, those other three guys are going to be in a rotation. So Aguilar is going to get his plays. Jones is going to get his play. Gafford is going to get in. That's a speedster. So if you look at wanting to take advantage of some shoddy coverage or maybe some DBs who aren't as fast, and you put guys out there like Zay Jones, Rico in the slot, and Henry Ruggs out on the other end, and you just tell them to go, that's putting some defense, especially at secondary, in a tough position. And what you got Darren Waller coming underneath, or even Foster Moreau. Derek Carrier's got some speed on him too. So our tight ends aren't slow by any means. I mean, they're not 4.3 or 4.2 rocket fast, but these guys are 4.4s. Darren Waller runs in a 4.3. So I mean, hey, but so look at that. That's huge. Of course, talking about the tight ends, I just mentioned three of them. Waller, Jason Witten, Foster Moreau, Derek Carrier is on there, so they did go with the 4 tight ends. I did not expect that, but they did do that. Colton Miller, I am shocked and surprised that Brandon Parker made the team. I thought he was going to be one of those cuts. But I did hear them talking about his improvements from last year to this year, so I'm going to wait to see how that turns out, because I do know last year when Trent Brown went down, he was, yeah. So, and then of course they traded David Sharper as well. So I'm assuming he stepped it up. I'm hoping he did, because he is a big guy, 6'8", 320 pounds. if he puts in the work, he gets his mind right, and he's ready to be a dog. He could be somebody that could make a difference. So we'll see how that goes. Sam Young, somebody that did have to make the roster. John Sampson and Andre James, also somebody I had there. It is interesting looking at the roster breakdown and how they have it on ESPN. If you guys do go check that out, that's where I'm looking this up at. If you look at the breakdown, so they have Parker and Young behind Cole Miller and Trent Brown. They have John Simpson behind Richie Incognito and Andre James behind Rodney Hudson. That's for their backup. They have no one at backup behind Gabe Jackson. So I am interested to see if that's going to be something where they flop maybe Sam Young or somebody in there if they need be, if something happens to Gabe, because he has been fighting some health, some staying healthy over the past couple years. So want to see how that goes as well. That's the offense, and of course Marcus Mariota, and Nate Peterman are the backup quarterbacks there. So that's the offense. Surprise addition too that I forgot to mention. Devontae Booker made the cut as well. Of course, we knew Jalen Richard was going to make it, but Devontae Booker is one of the backup as well. To speak on that, we're going to talk about that trade. Lynn Bowden Jr., the draft pick from Kentucky, traded to Miami. I know all of us in Raider Nation, I know myself included, I was excited about the pick when I learned about the young man, watching videos on him and seeing how he was able to go out. Yeah, I thought that was going to be a great pick for us to have that Swiss Army knife type deal. Putting him at running back, especially without the full camp that we needed to have, and then those preseason camps and everything, I think that kind of put him behind the eight ball. And so what the Raiders decided to do, which is kind of ingenious, but I don't know. I think I would have still stuck with him because that is such a huge ask to ask somebody to switch from a position they never played for, especially trying to pick up that blocking in the NFL. I think that's a huge ask. That's a lot to ask for somebody. So it'll be interesting to see what he does, because I hear that Miami is going to put him in a slot, which is really going to open up things for them out there. I think he's going to be dynamic for them. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm very, very disappointed in that trade. I understand, but I am disappointed in it as well. All right. Defensive side of the ball. Starters, Pharaoh, Malik Collins. They do have on ESPN.com. Again, if you look out there, go to the NFL, click on Raiders, go to their depth chart. You'll see what I'm looking at there. But they have Jonathan Hankins starting with Malik Collins. I am hoping Mo Hurst actually gets that start. Now, I do see Hankins being in there on some rundowns, but I think Mo Hurst can handle both the run and the pass. So that's what they have on ESPN. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of switch-ups and things like that. Of course, Max Crosby, Nick Kwiatkowski, Corey Littleton, Nicholas Morrow is going to be starting. A lot of you guys did have Raekwon backing up Corey, which he does. There is another guy on there, Yukimi Awale, and I'm 100% sure I'm saying that wrong, so my apologies for butchering your name. I don't even know who the guy is, but he made the team. I think that's the linebacker, one of them we got from Cleveland. That's our linebackers, man. We have Nick Kwiatkowski, Corey Little, Nicholas Morrow, Yukime, and Raekwon McMillan. Now, they do have Tanner Muse listed as a safety, and he's on IR. So Tanner Muse didn't make the team. He's on IR. Not sure what happened to him. They have him listed as safety, but we do know he's going to be playing linebacker. So he has made the team. He's going to be playing linebacker. Cornerbacks, they have, of course, Trayvon Mullen, Damon Arnett, who beat out Prince Amukamara. The surprise cut was Demarius Randall. I definitely wasn't seeing that coming, but I do know Mayor talked about Eric Harris and how he's been playing, and his leap forward. So Eric Harris is lifted there, Jeff Heath back up, and then Levitt is another one of those too. Then they got LaMarcus Joyner, Amik Robinson, Isaiah Johnson on one side of our backups for corner, and then Nevin Lawson and DJ Killings as well for the others. But those guys opted out this season. So I'm not sure how that counts toward the 53-man roster as far as an opt-out, because they are not technically playing, even though they are listed as opt-out. So we'll see there. Then, of course, special teams, Daniel Carson, AJ Cole, Jalen Richard, and Trent Sieg to round out the special team. So our 53-man roster, a lot close to a lot of us. I know there are some surprise there for me. For some of the people that I had listed on the team and some of the guys I didn't. Of course, backups, Carl Nesbitt, Mo Harris, Daniel Ross, Kendall Vickers also made the team, and Jeremiah Vailoga opted out this season as well. He's listed. So I'm interested because Yukeme Elway, he opted out as well. So I'm trying to see how that affects the 53-man roster if they're given a spot because they opted out and those spots are reserved for them for this year. I don't know how that works because they're coming back. So I'm just unsure about that because I didn't know that would affect the 53-man roster if they're not playing this year. I figured that would be kind of like an IR type thing or something like that. And can you bring some people in and fill those holes? And one of the other things that we have going on this year that is new is that you can have more players on a practice squad, and you can add veterans to the practice squad as well, because that was a shock and a surprise for me as well, because I know in years past, veterans couldn't be put on the practice squad, and they're allowing that. So you can have more players on the practice squad. I do believe it's up to 18, if I'm not mistaken, and I'll research that to find out, but I do believe I heard someone say it was up to 18, and you can add veterans, up to 6 veterans on that practice squad as well. So, interesting. I do know Javen White has been added to the practice squad. So he was released but added to the practice squad. So I am hopeful that we can see that young man make it to the active roster at some point, especially if he can get his weight up. I've heard a couple of people list him at 208 to 209 pounds. Where when he was in college, he was listed at 220, so I'm not exactly sure where he is, but we do know he needs to bulk up a little bit. He needs to get around that 230, 235 range, if possible, maybe even 240, but you still want to make sure he keeps that speed because he is quick and he's going to be good in coverage. So, yeah. But, yeah, so 53-man roster there. A lot of surprises, especially with Kendall Vickers making it. I didn't see that one coming. And then those question marks for those guys that opted out to still be on the 53-man roster and how they affect the actual overall guys that can play and that you can have on your team. That's interesting as well because they do have those listed on here. So that is interesting. We don't have anybody that's out as far, well, they opted out, so those guys are out. But nobody on PUPs, only one person is suspended, and Nevin Lawson is suspended for one game. So I do know he's got that suspension, even though they have him listed as out instead of suspended, because that's what he should be, is SUS. But yeah, 53-man roster. That's the breakdown. Looking at this as far as record-wise, and now that we kind of have a clear notion of what we want to do, defensively, we still need depth at the linebacker position. Even though with Corey Littleton and Kwiatkowski, and we've upgraded as far as the starters, but if we take any kind of major hit to one of those guys, if we lose them for any significant amount of time, that's going to put us back in a hole at the linebacker position. So I would like to see us do something there. I think Raekwon McMillan is going to be great for run stuffing and stopping the run. But I saw a video done by one of our other Raider Nation video bloggers that was doing a video on him and talking about his pass coverage. And he definitely looked a tad bit slow or maybe even more confused or not comfortable with it. I don't know. He was excellent at run stopping, but not so good at pass coverage. So, and I think a lot of that was just kind of not playing position or being out of position. So hopefully, if he can get it to where he's comfortable in the scheme and he doesn't do a lot of thinking, he's just playing and reacting and having fun. Maybe his pass coverage could be better. That's going to be something we'll have to wait and see. But I still have our linebacking position circled as something that it's going to be a little bit of a weakness for us, and that we still need to add some depth there. But the rest of the position on defense, I think we're pretty decent at. We're going to see a lot of rotation guys there, especially in that defensive front. And even on the back end, Trayvon Mullins, Damon Arnett, I think they're going to have a phenomenal career. Both of those is like having two CB1s out there because they can cover and lock down. They're tremendous, and man coverage is what the Raiders like to play. So if you can cut down both sides of the field and leave somebody to play in the middle, that's where your linebackers come in. So that gives Corey, Eric Harris, Jonathan Abram, and them boys sometimes to just kind of tee off out there. So if you can leave man out on the island and they can shut that down on both sides with Arnett and Mullen, if they can do that, that's going to really help not only our pass rush, but yeah, maybe create some turnovers there. I would like to see what Amik Robinson does in the nickel position if LaMarcus Joyner continues to struggle this year as well. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see as well. So, but yeah, so leave your comments down below. Like I said, once we get to 25 subscribers, then I'll be able to take my best comments. My Zoom is already ready to go. I got it activated. It's ready. I just need the subscribers. I need your comments. And then let's talk some football. We are literally 1 week away from the start of the season. Carolina Panthers. If we got any Carolina Panther fans, subscribe, smash that like button, leave your comments. Let's talk some ball. Let's keep it friendly. Let's not argue about things. Let's just respect each other and our teams. Let's talk some football because we actually do have it this year, which is great, especially with all the stuff that's going on with this pandemic. We need the football. We need to talk ball, and we need to enjoy talking ball and not listen to these so-called experts that seem like they're talking out the back of their necks or their butts. So, fans, let's get it. Let's talk. Let's have fun. I'm going to try to do some more videos this week because we are getting up to crunch time. So I'm going to try to do another video soon within the next day or two so that we can talk about the Carolina Panthers, get ready for that game, talk to some fans hopefully before the game, and then talk about it afterwards, man. And hopefully we got enough fans and that we can talk about the game after as well. I know it's going to be different talking ball when you can't have fans in the stadium, but we're going to watch the game. We could talk about what happens and win, lose, or die. Raider till I die, baby. Let's get it out. Till next time, y'all be safe, stay healthy, be happy, show love.